Hey everybody, welcome to the Nerd Store Podcast. Like always, I'm your host, Kyle. With me today I got...
Charles Demonbreaker.
Charles Demonbreaker. That's an impressive name, actually.
And King McThunderpants.
King
I was
McThunderpants.
going with Henry Buttstomp, but...
You and Butts, David. You and Butts.
Anyway, I got David and Hayden here with me.
Wouldn't let me have Thunderous Toilet LLC as our company name, so we gotta go with that.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we got a little bit of housekeeping to talk about. We won't talk about that until the end of the podcast, so I don't want to bore you too much at the beginning. But we're going to be talking about some Final Fantasy stuff and how much I love that and the Super Nintendo goodness of what that brought to me.
And how much I don't love that.
And we will hear about David complaining about something, like always.
Weird.
That is super weird. Yeah. That is uncommon to hear you complain about stuff. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about Pokemon. Strangely enough, a Nintendo game that David doesn't absolutely despise.
That's not Nintendo developed. It's built by Game Freak.
The Pokemon Company, right?
Yeah, Game Freak.
Yeah, that's what they like. It's Game Freak, the Pokemon Company.
Mm-hmm. God, this is a long intro.
That is not actually internal Nintendo. Did you? I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, I do know this.
That's why they're actually good and not,
anyway, like always, guys, thanks for joining us and enjoy the show. Yeah, okay. So Final Fantasy 15. It's been out for a little over a week now. It's been out for a couple weeks now.
Metrosexual Japanese dudes 15.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but like every anime looks like that anyway coming out of Japan, so I'm going to say, I don't know. Let's kind of think about it. Like even Dragon Ball has it.
They put Cat Planet Cuties on
Dragon Ball's cooler.
I mean,
and they put Dragon Ball Super on there too.
Where?
On Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Cool. Don't you have to pay for that?
It's like 15. Like you can watch anything I think for free, but there's like ads interspersed through there. So like you kind of, unless you want to be interrupted every 15 minutes, like you pay. It's like $15 a month. So
cool. I have money for that.
I mean, it's like Netflix or Hulu and stuff like that. It's worth doing if you want to watch a lot of anime. Like seriously. So like totally recommend Crunchyroll. Mm-hmm. But Final Fantasy 15, been playing the crap out of it. And now, while playing this game, I've been experiencing certain things. And I don't want to ruin it at all. But it's taken me back. Like, Final Fantasy 6 or 3 on the Super Nintendo here in the US is one of my all-time favorite games. If not, it's probably not number 1, because Legend of Zelda Link to the Past holds that spot. It's probably number 2.
Is this your favorite game of all time or favorite game?
It is my favorite game of all time. Like I'm talking like this game, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo are the reason why I play video games today. Like these are the games that like I always saw games growing up. I played the original Nintendo. I liked playing, but these are the games that drew me in, like really pulled me into the video gaming world. And playing Final Fantasy 15, I'm experiencing that. Like I'm feeling drawn to it the same way I did with Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo. Like it was like these characters are actually driven. There's a reason for what they're doing. Each one has a distinct story on what's going on, and some of the character design is very similar to what the character design would be for these characters for Final Fantasy 3 if they were 3D instead of just the 2D sprite.
Buttload more zippers, and if they all wear black leather. And
now that is, I actually will say there's 2 complaints that I have to the game, and they're very minimal. The black, the fact that they all wear black.
That's been a complaint.
It does. That does annoy me a little bit.
Like, there's the option to like get different costumes for them.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, now they're not wearing a jacket.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, great job. Like,
but there's so as you keep playing, there are other costumes like that they can change into, and they're not black. I will give you that much. But like, and the other cool part is that the outfits give them different abilities and different stats and stuff like that, just like normal like equipment would if you were playing a normal RPG game.
When you equip like what are your item slots in this?
So the item slots essentially are the main character you play, he's got 4 like weapon slots where he can equip 4 weapons if you want, or you use those weapon slots for your magic as well.
It's just like he's not using these all at the same time. It's just like a quick swap.
So you can quickly swap through these through battle, like really fast.
So I guess my follow-up question to that is: do all of those weapons, or is the stats from all those weapons counting on him at the same time? Like, so if he's using, like, if I've got, gun A and sword B, if that's how it works, I don't know. But like, we say gun A, B, C, and D. If I'm using gun A, am I still enjoying the stats of gun B, C, and D?
So that's a good thing to bring up. Like each, depending on what you're fighting, they're weak to certain things. So they could be like, so starting out, basically you have daggers, you have like a normal, like, basic sword, and then you have like a two-handed sword. Okay? And enemies will be weak against a specific weapon type. Mm-hmm. Some of them will do just standard damage. Some of them will do extra damage because they're weak to it, or some of them will do less damage because they're stronger to it. That's how the weapon stuff works. So you could probably get by just utilizing the same weapon throughout the entire game, but if you want things to move a tad bit quicker, a bit more faster through combat and stuff, then you're going to want to kind of switch between these weapons to find out exactly what they're weak to.
Right, but what he means is like if sword A gives you a bonus on strength or whatever,
a stat bonus
and sword
15.
B gives you
and they
an
do
agility
that.
stat.
There are certain weapons that will add to your strength or add to your health or add to your magic and stuff like that.
But if you're using sword A, that gives you plus 15 strength, and sword B gives you 15 agility where you're moving faster or whatever, like, are you only seeing the agility?
No, so you're only drawing from whatever weapon you're utilizing at that point in time. So
there's no armor or
anything?
anything?
You can't stack a bunch of stats, essentially. Which is actually, in my opinion, probably a good thing, because at that point you could probably make your character unbeatable at that point.
But there's no armor that you're using. There's no is there?
So
I'm assuming there's accessory.
You have
slots.
accessory slots. That was the next part I was going to bring up. You start off with one, and in the talent tree that they have built into, which is called Ascension, you can actually spec into having up to 3 different slots for accessories. And the accessories are the ones that are going to do more detrimental upgrade, but bigger upgrades, larger upgrades to your stats.
So did you already have a license for daggers when you started?
Yes.
You had to earn your license for, you had to fill in the spheres on the sphere grid to get to your license for guns?
I'm too young to
know.
No.
What any of this means.
I'm combining the retarded systems from Final Fantasy 10 and 12.
Yeah, he's so no, Noctis can utilize any of the weapons, right off the bat. Noctis, he's the main character.
Oh,
okay. Noctis can use any of the weapons. Now, his 3 cohorts, or his 3 friends, they can use one of his weapons plus an additional weapon of your choosing. So, for instance, and I can't remember
what are his 3 friends.
So the big strong dude, he's going to use the 2-handed sword. Yeah, we'll go Shred.
Shredded Jacknuts.
Yeah, Shredded Jacknuts. Yes, I like that. He's now that Shredded Jacknuts. He uses 2-handed swords, and then he can use a shield. Now, like I said,
Fago and Starbucks.
No, because I remember their names, Ignis and Prompto. But he can use a 2-handed sword and then a shield as his weapons. Those are his weapon types he can use.
Oh,
now,
so
like I said,
Prot Warrior. Okay.
Yeah, basically that's kind of the concept.
Or Paladin.
He's the one that's going to take on extra damage and do extra damage depending on how you equip his weapons.
Point out tank.
Yes, he'll be your tank. Now, like I said, like Noctis, you can change one of his weapons into a spell type as well.
Can I change Noctis' name?
You can't change. Well,
can you put a shirt on him?
You can't change Noctis' name. That is one thing I noticed. You can't change any of these characters' names like you have in previous Final Fantasy games. You are stuck to whatever name. And my guess is because they actually they did lots of voiceover work and they say their name all the time.
Yeah.
Man.
But so
those days of having my own personal
let me explain this more.
Let
me explain this more. There are reasons, and there are good reasons behind this. So one of the things I loved about Final Fantasy VI is that you start with these group of people that really have no idea who each other are. They just kind of get thrown together, and they're trying to battle the Empire. Okay. Now the difference with Final Fantasy 15, you get the idea that the team that you're playing, Noctis, who's the prince, and then his 3 friends, they've known each other and they've dealt with each other quite a bit as he's growing up. but they're learning more about each other as you're going on this adventure. So you're kind of being enthralled within this group. Like, you're being pulled into learning more about this group. You're being pulled into learning more about these people that you're playing. Like,
Those aren't people that you're playing.
They are, though. It's like, that was one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy 3 or 6 is that, like, you're just this ragtag of people that got thrown together, and they just kind of grew to like each other, and they, grew to get to know each other, and each person had, their
sounds like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Like,
sounds nothing like
it's
Guardians
the craziest part ever.
The same.
How many Coleman items were the Guardians of the Galaxy using?
They grew to like each other.
That is the other thing. Like, that is one of the best things about Final Fantasy 15 that, like, I'm laughing hysterically throughout when I'm playing it. The product placement in this game is genius. Okay? Now, growing up, not once did I ever think, what would be really awesome to me in a game? Coleman accessories for camping. Yes, all of their camping gear has the actual Coleman name on there. Billboards have, like, Top Ramen and Cup of Noodles. Like, the product placement in this game is brilliant. Like, it would be like, it's not so, like, in your face. It would just be something that, like, hey, like, this is what the real world is like. There's going to be all these product names everywhere, and that's kind of what they've done. I can't imagine how much it probably cost Square.
It cost them nothing.
You don't think it cost them anything?
I think they offered,
or do you think that they just offer, like, hey, we'll put you in our Final Fantasy
game? They said,
game.
hey, we've got free advertising space here because we got this dumb game we're not really sure about. They said, hey, what if we had is it a Lexus? What type of car is it that they...
It looks like a Lexus.
So it's called a Regalia, but I don't think that... It's not an actual real...
It is.
Oh, wait, no, it's an Audi. It's an Audi.
Okay.
That's right. I was just thinking, I was trying to think of the logo. I was like, nope, it is an Audi. Yeah, it's
and they're making that, and you can have it for the low price of $500K. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Audi is making that car. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone will buy it.
The car's actually really cool, though. You get to customize it to whatever you want. There's a bunch of different things that allows you to customize it.
Like, what you're describing here, not what you're describing, but what you're talking about is the single biggest issue, aside from, like, them being all just the metrosexual Japanese stereotype that I see in every freaking Squaresoft game since 2000.
Here's the thing. Continue. No, you didn't.
I didn't.
I'm saying it for you.
We gotta make sure to say it for you. This needs to still be a thing, David. We've already told you about this. It's now your slogan.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Anyway, it is so disgusting for me to, like, see real world brands in spaces like this.
Why?
Because it's fantasy.
Because it has no place there.
Why does it have no place in there? So is this because it's a Final Fantasy game? So let's take a franchise like
what other Final Fantasy game?
There's Need for Speed, and I've been playing Need for Speed, the newest one that came out, and there's a million Hot Wheels trucks all over the place, and they just get in the way, and I hate them, and I'm not going to buy Hot Wheels for like a month. So
for like a month.
He's not listening.
But what I'm saying is,
they have product placement in all of video games.
Yes, now. But it's not something that I want in, like. There were a few kind of, I guess, I'm not going to say venerated, because Final Fantasy's fallen from that grace a long time ago.
And I think this is the game to pull them out of that, though, to be honest. Because, I mean, Final Fantasy XIV, they realized they screwed up with. They re-released Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn, and it's actually really good. It's a lot of fun. Like, if there was an MMO that I were to go and jump onto, if I wasn't playing the crap out of World of Warcraft, that would be the MMO that I would go and jump onto.
But my thing is, like, was it Black Ops? First Black Ops, they put all the Jeeps in.
Yeah.
You had to hear about that all the time. And Need for Speed has forever, like, they've had, like, real world brand ads in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Burnout Paradise had that crap.
Yeah.
And, like, the thing about those is, like, I'm not holding them, like, those don't have... Is it,
like, pulling you out of the experience? Because it's something that we normally see in real world, so you're like, oh, this isn't... I am playing a video game, I'm not just experiencing
advertising fatigue, where... You are just so surrounded by it all the time. Like, you turn around behind you. I'm just serious. Like, so behind where Kyle is sitting, he has his computer sitting there, and he has the homepage for Steam sitting there, and he's got the homepage for the
Battle.net
client. Now, Battle.net is only advertising Battle.net stuff, Blizzard stuff. So right now we have a screen that shows, like, buy Mean Streets of Gadgetzan cards, because that's a thing now. But on the other side, like, it's got the Steam page telling him to buy Black Mesa. Like, this is just sitting here. Like,
that was actually because I was looking at Black Mesa, though. Because I was thinking about buying it.
But Steam actually recommends, like, they'll throw up advertisements for games that they actually recommend to you.
I know what you're saying.
On the bigger point here is, like, you go up to YouTube and you can't get out of watching the stupid videos. Like,
you're constantly being thrown like, hey, buy stuff, buy this, get this. No, I understand what you're saying.
And that's the thing. People are getting around ad block now.
Yeah.
And that's disgruntling because, like, it's so... When someone finally does it and you're forced to look at, like, it's been years.
Do you watch TV? Do you just sit and watch cable TV?
No, I don't.
That's the problem. Is that, like, and that's the issue. That's why he has so much of a problem with it. Where, like, you and I watch normal TV.
I hate normal TV though now.
And that's the thing. Like, it's so saturated with, like, just these just grating corporate messages like, we've got this. Look at, like, the new Mountain Dew commercial I saw today.
Do you know what I do?
Smacking the freaking motorcycles with the...
I still don't pay attention to that stuff. Nice. You know why I don't? Because I have a smartphone. And what am I doing when the show is not on, or when I'm watching YouTube and I'm waiting for their stupid, ad to go away?
One time I worked for you.
I'm shopping on my phone. Yeah. I'm looking at internet websites. I'm doing all sorts, playing video games on my phone.
This one time I worked for Kyle Ricketts at Popular Video Game Retail, and there's a TV running in the background. Everybody else can ignore it. But I can't. Like, it's just because it's there. Like, it's that thing going in the back of my, and, like, as it's going all day, like, I'm quoting it to whoever's working with me, and they're just looking at me like, "What?" It's like, it's on the TV right now. Like, literally, like, this is played 6,000 times this week, and, like,
unfortunately, that is the thing is that I do have the ability to tune that stuff out. Like, I do.
It's. I would love to, but, like, it's one of those things where it's so grating for me because I can't not pay attention to it. And it actively,
it brings you out of the experience.
Yeah, like, the one thing I'll note, though, is that this Final Fantasy stuff that they have in there, it's not something that they're, like, throwing in your face. There's just little subtle things that are there.
And the thing about that is, like, for me, it won't be little and subtle. It's going to be grating where it's like, oh...
But it's not like they're saying, like,
I see this family of 17 Googles decided to go with a Coleman tent. How great.
But it's not like they're saying, like, hey,
I wonder what the reviews have been on Amazon for this popular product.
But actually, that would be better. If they should just have, like, a little pop-up every time you come across an item that's got a brand on it, telling you how much it costs on Amazon and what the star ranking is.
That'd be great. Now, David,
that wouldn't be great. That would be utterly terrible. And the terrible thing about what you just suggested is we're probably about 5 years away from that. Stop talking about it.
David, on the other side of this, there is Grand Theft Auto 5. It is more or less a life simulator, way more than Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, yeah.
It has branding everywhere on your phone, internet pages that you research, like on your phones and stuff like that.
Stuff.
Exactly. Does that bother you?
Okay, so I will first mention that I utterly hate.
Well, we know you hate Grand Theft Auto.
Not Grand Theft Auto. Like I played Grand Theft Auto 3 and I played Vice City. So I like those games, but
the idea behind
Rockstar games.
What's your idea? Like it's not just necessarily Grand Theft Auto, but the idea of what they do. Does it bother you?
In the Grand Theft Auto verse or
yes, just go with that universe.
Yeah, they're part of the thing about Grand Theft Auto is that they have all these parody companies.
Yeah.
And, like,
iFruit.
I still remember to this day the Mombatsu monstrosity. And, like, the ad that would play on Grand Theft Auto 3 where they were talking about a oversized sport utility vehicle. I
was too young.
It was just like an ad that would play on the Grand Theft Auto fake radio for a fake car that was just enormous.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
it's when everybody was starting to make fun of people that were just like, it was when like the Hummer
stuff,
was becoming super popular and stuff like that.
The Ford Excursion.
Okay, yeah. Like it was all about like when the SUVs were just kept getting bigger and bigger and absorbing more gas and even more gas.
2005.
It was just when everybody was making cheap jabs at all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Rightly so, but nonetheless, like that's
Right.
what was going on with that.
Was it?
2005 was.
But
Xbox
aside
360.
from
Yeah.
all of that, Final Fantasy is great, and every time, as I'm playing it, I'm geeking out almost nonstop, thinking about the experiences I had at I was 7, 8 years old probably when I was playing Final Fantasy 6. So to me, this is a big deal. I'm experiencing this game, playing this game, enjoying it as an adult, and thinking back about how much I love that
Kyle
game.
just yelling at his
Yeah,
Game Boy.
like-
Going, that's my D cactar.
That's my...
I actually want to
You
say
just
that to
got full
Cactar
ragged!
because there is a rare spawn of Cactar at the beginning of the game that I can't get to spawn. And it's really pissing me off.
Should I
I
talk about rare
need a
spawns, Kyle?
Cactar needle in order to upgrade my my auto crossbow.
Are you familiar with the Beast Mastery Hunter
Yes.
in World of Warcraft?
Never
Do you know
heard of
about?
it.
No, smack you so hard. So there's a quest after you complete the Hunter Order Hall where you can get an item that will let you replicate the appearance of Hottie, your second pet, to match the appearance of your first pet.
Yeah.
But to do this, you have to go on a quest to get these item
Items
drops.
all over. Yeah.
So 3 of them are very easy.
I didn't think we were going to get into World of Warcraft this soon.
Well, we will because this is a truck that's been bothering me. But the 4th one
We're
drops
talking about
off.
World of Warcraft again?
There's
Wait.
one area on the coast of High Mountain, and there's specific mobs that have to be up to drop this item. But it's every hour they reset and respawn as other things, and there's 3 or 4 sets of what they can possibly be, and then there's the actual mob you need to drop this one stupid thing at a very low drop rate. And guess what I need?
This one little stupid thing.
Yeah, and
at
guess
a
what's
very
not
low-
popping up any of the hours I'm online playing this game?
It doesn't surprise me that they did something like that with that specifically, because the one thing that was really cool playing a hunter back in the day is he always had the rare spawn.
Mhm.
And they kind of taken away the rare spawn. It's not as rare as it used to be.
Well,
It's more of just a unique boss that's within the world that you fight.
it's,
Really, the rare spawns, it's not
I wouldn't even
unique.
say it's a
They
unique
spawn
boss.
all the time.
it's now like the Gara quest and
yeah.
that was a unique. It wasn't just a rare boss. That was a hidden It wasn't even a quest chain. It was a hidden chain of events you followed and ended up with this amazing pet.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
Yeah.
And that was an experience that only a hunter
Or,
could
well,
do.
okay, so I know this was a little bit before your time with World of Warcraft, but with Wrath of the Lich King. In Wrath of the Lich King...
So that was not before my time, because if you wanted those spirit beasts, you had to go back there.
Well,
And there
yes,
were
no,
hunters still farming that
yes,
stuff.
and there still is, but that's my point, is that, back with Wrath of the Lich King, there was a rare spawn pet for hunters in every
single zone.
single zone. And they were rare. You had to grind. You had no choice. You had to be
And
on
the thing
all
about it
friggin'
was,
day looking for
if
him.
someone...
I only have one, and that's Scroll.
You haven't been doing your homework. I've got all of them.
I'm sure you did.
I had... Okay. Before I knew that they were going to do the, glyph the Stampede to all match, I was trying to get... I ended up with 5 skulls. Because I just wanted to do the Stampede and have 5 skulls come out.
So the only reason why I have him is because he's the only one I really want. Because my character. I know this sounds stupid, but in my head I have fan fiction for my character for World of Warcraft. David knows about this. I've discussed to him at length about this stuff, and my hunter always has a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
He has always had a wolf. I've always enjoyed him having a wolf. It's made sense in my head for the reason why he has it. And so the only spirit beast I wanted out of there was him specifically.
And for those who don't know, he's this awesome-looking wolf that has lightning crackling around him.
Yes.
And his claws and teeth glow and his eyes glow.
And he was one of the hardest of the spirit beasts, in my opinion, to get a hold of.
And the thing about it was he was on the rare spawn list. And the thing about that is during Wrath of the Lich King, on the rare spawn list, there's an achievement for killing all the rare spawns. And all the hunter pets are on that kill list.
Yeah.
And I don't think
they changed in future expansions. Because, I remember there's still one I haven't gotten out of Cataclysm that I want. That's the lion.
Steel one? In the Firelands Molten Front?
No, it's lion. He's, what is,
I know what you're talking about. He looks like
I can't remember that area's called.
He looks like
This
the
is so
Alliance
bad.
Mount, right?
Yeah. Like, I want him.
It's Twilight Highlands, I think.
Yeah, Twilight Highlands. And he only spawns in one area.
I got
but
that named Allied Disposal.
People will still go and kill them. That's the worst part about it. Is that people, like, they're not a part of achievement at all, but people will still go out of the way. If they see it, they'll just kill it. Just because they know that there's some poor hunter that's probably around there looking for it, and they're going to kill it before that hunter can.
Well, on the flip side of things, there's also people that are like, there used to be people that would tip people off.
Yeah, like typically like, hey, if there's a hunter here, this guy just popped up.
And like it's just so you know, it was good manners to actually tip those people that were tipping you. Like, hey, I just got an awesome pet. Here's 100 gold.
Yeah.
Or 500. You know, like, take into account economy of the time. Legacy servers.
Hashtag legacy servers.
Yeah. Anyway, back to rare spawn cactars.
So everybody needs to play this game, in my opinion.
No.
Like I've always said to everybody's like, if you haven't played Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo,
don't start with this
Final
one.
Fantasy 6,
God, don't start with this one.
You need to play that game. Like, that game is incredible.
If you haven't played a single Final Fantasy.
If you haven't played, yes, I would say that, yeah. Because the
if you
cool
haven't
thing
played
about
a single
Final Fantasy,
you think they should start with 12, or what is this?
15.
Oh, you mean start with 15? I see no reason why you shouldn't. I would say that you would get more out of this game if you had played one of the older Final Fantasies, though. Whether it be Final Fantasy 6 or 7 or even 8, or even going further back than that, Final Fantasy 4.
If you haven't played a Final Fantasy yet, start with Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And from there, I would go to maybe Final Fantasy 6 or Final Fantasy 7. And if I'm not saying play all these games to completion, but I would go there and if you find yourself enjoying those, then start making the jump up the chain. Like, I don't know if I would start with Final Fantasy 15 because I don't think
you haven't played it. You have no idea what I'm talking about. That's all I'm going to say.
Mr. Sass. Skull's waving his head around.
About ready to snap his fingers.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, no, I'm not saying that you should start at Final Fantasy 15. I'm saying it wouldn't. I see no problem with it. I could say you could jump in and start playing Final Fantasy 15 right away. Like, there's no reason not to. But the things that I'm geeking out about in that game, they pertain to the fact that I've played Final Fantasy 6. You know, I'm enjoying the game, but at the same time, that 7-year-old kid that played Final Fantasy 6 for the first time is also enjoying it because there's a lot of similarities. Like, you're actually enthralled with these characters. You want to know more about these characters.
And part of that nostalgia, I would assume, comes into the fact of the music you can buy and play on your radio.
So, funny enough, I have not come across Final Fantasy 6 stuff yet because it's further in the game. Like, I had to get further in the game to get the Final Fantasy 6.
But you've played those other games and, hearing that stuff again.
Yeah, it is really cool, because, at every shop, they have a limited edition, basically, CD of one of the previous Final Fantasy games. And right now I have Final Fantasy 4, 5, 7. 7's right at the beginning of the game, which I thought was funny. I got Final Fantasy 10... And then they automatically give you the Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack.
7 is the one that most people have played.
What's funny?
And 7 is the one that's most popular.
Did you ever play Braver?
Braver?
Yeah.
Is that a Final Fantasy game?
You know, it was a Square game, back in the day. They have one soundtrack from that game on there, which I thought was kind of funny.
I've never even heard of this.
Braver?
Harken back to the old days.
Yeah, we can talk more about that later. But anyway, so... they have, but because of that, that does kind of bring up the nostalgia as well. But no, it's more of just these characters you actually care about. And that has been one of the issues that the Final Fantasy games have had in the past.
Now,
Final Fantasy 13, I did not care about any of those characters.
Could you tell the class why exactly you care about these characters? Is it because they wear so much black leather?
Or is it because
no, that's the thing I hate about it.
Do you really admire their fey haircuts, or... how out of place they seem to be in just the world in general. When I see these characters, they're the kind of people that, if they were standing in any kind of dirt whatsoever, I imagine them just go ew.
Actually,
ew. There's so much nature on me right now, I can't even.
So they get dirty.
Oh, yeah?
They get dirty, throughout the day as they're questing and stuff like that. They actually get dirty. And not only that,
that I've watched of this, they're wearing, designer, leather crap and boots and just,
well,
kind of
you also got to remember that they... It is. And they are...
Cloud
he's
Strife
a prince.
Was wearing combat boots, bro.
but he's a
don't bring that
prince.
up.
Okay, like they are part of,
and he still had
kingdom.
affair.
Yeah, but nonetheless,
Gotta rule this kingdom, I guess.
No, these learning more about these characters and watching them, kind of grow. But the other cool part is, as you're progressing through the game, you gain experience like any, Final Fantasy game or any RPG, right?
Probably haven't heard about Coleman.
So,
Pretty
in order to utilize that experience, you actually have to rest for the day, and then that experience will level you up.
Like Dark Souls.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty similar
So,
to that.
if you die and you have not banked that experience, does it go away?
No,
So
No,
not
it's
like Dark Souls.
but you're not getting the immediate benefits of the experience.
you're not. Yeah, like you have to rest in order to use that experience. Okay. Now
That's interesting. But
like it's just, it feels more, to me it feels a little bit more fluid in that aspect. Like it gives you a reason to want to rest, because like when you played Final Fantasy games, they always had that option, but you never really did it.
Yeah.
Unless you absolutely needed life and you had no other way of healing your people. That is the only reason why you went to an inn. Like this actually gives you a reason. Like the inns, like
tents are expensive, man.
Now you can, camping's free. Like
but not with Coleman.
You already have all that stuff.
You're saying that Coleman tents are reusable?
He's a prince. They have tons of money.
Is this what Coleman
They have a
brought
car
to the
that's got
Final
all of their
Fantasy
stuff. But camping is free. But if you go to an inn,
it's actually not.
If you go
have
to an
pay
inn,
the campsite. Otherwise, the ranger comes.
No, you don't pay for any
He's
of
a
that.
prince.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about petty things like money.
Does he have to worry about bears?
You guys are ruining my game right now. I'm really enjoying this game.
Does he wear socks?
Like,
do the bears wear
if you
ties
go to a
and
hotel
hats?
or if you go to an inn or something like that, it costs money, obviously.
You notice bears that have a
but
certain
it
affinity
gives
for
you a
picnic
bonus
baskets.
to your experience as well. So
Pay to win.
I
First thing
guess
that came
pay
to
to
my
win
mind.
in the- pay to win in the
Experience
game.
for in-game money.
Yeah, like
pay to
so.
win.
There's a hotel that's like super expensive, and it like triples the amount of experience that you get.
Pay to win.
But I'm
So-
a prince and I have all this money. Why wouldn't I?
So you don't have all this money. Like
What
when
kind
you
of prince
when you
is
start
that?
playing this game, he's got no money. They've already spent all their money on all the crap they have. Like the black
giant
clothing
car
that he's
that they're
wearing, and
pushing
the giant car,
Yes.
and all the Coleman accessories that they had to have.
Guys, we're gonna go fight the monsters, but first we have to look so good.
First, we're going to the mall.
You'd be really upset. So when you buy,
Nordstrom.
so I bought.
Still not sponsored.
I bought the deluxe edition of the game because it came with this amazing, steel bookcase that has the
looks like an
standard
actual Final
classic
Fantasy game.
Yeah, it has the standard Final Fantasy. And unfortunately, it's not down here. It's upstairs. But
He keeps it in his bedroom now for different reasons.
yes, yeah. It looks absolutely gorgeous, but it comes with downloadable content.
Pay to win.
It comes with what they call like the regalia. It's the regalia item
Sounds
set.
expensive.
So it's different
Sounds
outfits for your characters
beautiful.
to wear,
Woo!
and it's like a suit. Like I'm talking full out suit with like
I'd much rather have that than like
a
leather.
chain with a watch, and all that stuff. Like it's very, very formal.
Well, isn't that what the kid's dad dresses like?
So no, not really. Like so I watched the Kingsglaive movie, which was okay. Like I would think that the only reason why you'd want to watch the Kingsglaive movie is if you started playing the game. There's a certain portion that happens at the game. You stop playing, you watch the Kingsglaive movie, and then you keep playing the game.
Kid's dad wears like boots with the fur.
Kind of.
You might think of like the words like Tyrannosaurus
It
Rex.
gives you a better concept and idea on
Club
what's
Sarah.
going on in it. You're ruining everything, David.
She-
Everything! Always!
But she hit the floor. Or I guess he hit the floor. Next thing you know...
apple bottom jeans.
But, I mean, no, like, Noctis' dad, I mean, he's a king, but his stuff doesn't look like super...
Ah, yes. King Noctis is dead.
Like, super...
Well, because I remember watching the
King Regis, by the way.
the trailers for it over and over again on the TV.
No, Noctis, yeah, I got a little quest for you. You gotta go out and...
And the one that's got, like, that's silly and supposed to bring, like, like, all the comedy
Do a
to
bit
the
of a road
game.
trip
His
here.
name's Prompto.
got so many gas stations.
Prompto.
So many gas stations.
Yeah. And the smart one, the intelligent one, and the, tells Noctis what he should do, his name is Ignis.
Like fire.
Oh, does he know a fire spell?
You can teach him a fire spell.
But he doesn't know it?
No, it
So he's a poser, is what you're telling me.
You can equip a fire spell.
He's
so
a
that's
poser
the other.
that dresses
So
like a
here's
poser.
the other cool part about Magic. Like Magic is completely different in this game.
Guess what?
And they kind of change it up in just about every single Final Fantasy.
VD, perhaps? You know, short little thing.
That's the only spell he has fire.
Yeah, fire. He's like, you know what? I'm a black mage. I better,
no fire, at least.
At least have like that part on lock.
So there's like each of these characters, in a way, they have a class that they kind of fulfill. Like Ignis would probably be kind of the healer type. Prompto is more of like the range, does damage outside.
So it used to be like the pansy healer. The other guy would be like the pansy DPS.
But what I was going to tell you is the way the magic works in there is you have like these little fire, ice, and lightning areas that you absorb the magic, and you build the spells. And the way you build the spells is you take what that magic that you've absorbed,
so it's like
and you attach it to another item.
That?
And it'll make the spell stronger, or it'll do like a dual cast of the spell, or
Team
something within that
like
effect.
Fire is absorbed into their like chest.
So like if you use a fire spell, I don't care. I'm having fun talking about it right now.
Lightning is primarily absorbed in the backside.
Team instinct.
The general buttock reason.
But no, like let's say you're creating a fire spell, all right? And then you attach a potion to it. So that means when you use the fire spell, it'll heal your people at the same time.
Okay.
Which is actually really cool. Like there's and that's how you build the magic. You don't really learn the magic, you build it, essentially.
What does not build magic?
Well, in this game you build it.
It's an interesting idea though.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And
trying to hook you, David. He's trying to hook you.
I know, but like there's so many things, like it's just not a game that I have any interest playing. And I know he's gonna try to do this awesome trick that you took from me.
I'm just gonna buy it and
give
it
to
him.
It's called the David Sawyer maneuver, where I know, like, hey, I've got this game I really want people to play, but they're not gonna play it, so I'm gonna buy it for them. And there's this sense of like obligation.
I'm gonna have to play it now.
Yeah, it's like, well, he bought it for me, now I gotta play it. Like I pulled it with Metal Gear Solid 5, and then Hayden pulled it with Division.
Yep.
It just means like, well, they bought me this game. That means I gotta play it.
I will just end up buying it for you because the game is great. Like it is. I would say it's the best Final Fantasy game since 7. I'm gonna say, and I know a lot of people are gonna hate on me right now because 12 is supposed to be amazing, but I absolutely hate it because
that wasn't the best Final Fantasy game.
What's that?
9 was much better than that game.
No. I said since Final Fantasy 7. So
like 9 was a better fantasy game since 7. 9 and I have a weird relationship. Like I was in a like transitioning period from Final Fantasy, and so 9 didn't hit any points for me. And I need to go back and play that game because I know it would now. So for me, Final Fantasy 9 is my favorite of the Final Fantasies.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 6 is better.
See, I haven't played Final Fantasy 6.
And you are a terrible person because
But I got... What was Final Fantasy 6 released for?
Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1. And I actually have a Game Boy Advance version of it just right behind you. Oh, by the way, it's also on your smartphone.
Good. If I wanted to pay more money than it was ever worth, that'd be great.
Well, I mean, I bought mine when it was on sale. So.
Yeah, Squaresoft and mobile devices, like, they never really quite understood the market of, like, oh, you're not supposed to pay $20, $40 for a mobile game?
Yeah, that is something that I would probably complain about, especially with that. They do overcharge a lot for the games that they put on the phones.
Might have, like, a PlayStation, like, Greatest Hits or something version, or, like, didn't they have, like, an anthology?
Well, you have a Vita, right? That one handheld that nobody ever plays?
Yeah, I got that.
The one that died horribly.
They constantly
it's still actually there.
They actually constantly put that PlayStation 1 version of Final Fantasy 6 on sale.
I have Final Fantasy
PlayStation
7,
Store.
8, and 9 that I put on there.
Yeah, like you should download Final Fantasy 6 then. And that actually will come with, I don't think they separated it. I think that comes with Final Fantasy 5 as well. Because if you buy Final Fantasy 4, that comes with Chrono Trigger.
Do you remember they had, like,
awesome.
There was a... Okay, so you're probably talking about the exact same. There was like anthology and like collection or something.
Mm-hmm. I have them behind.
There was like one that had like this one, and this one, and there was one that had like this one's Chrono Trigger and this one.
Final Fantasy 4.
Okay, because I have the Chrono Trigger one. I believe
I think
bought
it's
the
Final
other
Fantasy
one
4. I don't know.
To those who do not play Final Fantasy, this sounds like you guys are arguing over which Harry Potter book was the best.
Final Fantasy Chronicles is what the Final Fantasy 4 and Chrono Trigger one was called.
Okay.
And seconds. There's 8. There's Chrono Cross.
I'm so sorry.
Oh gosh.
Let's see. I have Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah, that's one.
Tactics. I have. Oh, there it is. I know I have Anthology, but I don't know where it's at. And there's Anthology. This one's going to have Final Fantasy 6 and Final Fantasy 5.
Okay, so I have these. So I got both these.
This, like I said, Final Fantasy 6, best Final Fantasy of all time. Mm-hmm. They do an amazing job of developing each character that you play in this game. Each character has their own story. Like where you actually go on quests to help them figure out who they are and to better themselves and stuff like that. It is amazing. Okay.
So Dragon Age.
As far as character development goes, it's some of the best stuff ever.
This is an audio podcast. Go sit down. That's one of those games where it's probably like one of those glaring holes. Not probably, but is one of those glaring holes in my
repertoire.
Like that's one game that you said that you've always told yourself I should have played that. So I'll tell you what, I will make a deal with you. We're coming close to the new year, right?
Yeah.
So I'll make a deal. I will play Final Fantasy 9 in its entirety, as long as you promise me within next year you will play Final Fantasy 6 in its entirety. I don't care which
next year.
Well, like any time next year, like you have to play Final Fantasy 6.
Okay, I could do that.
Yeah. So, and you have to play in its entirety. I don't care which version of it. I would recommend.
So, do you want to know like what game I would absolutely refuse?
Well, I don't want you to choose a game you're going to refuse.
No. Like,
I'm not
this is one where I go like, yeah,
like,
I would do this. Like, this is one where like, this is honestly like something I look and go like, yeah, I should have played this by now. But there's one out there where like people's like, oh yeah, you should have played this game. You should have played this.
Okay, what is it?
Super Nintendo. I can't remember the name of it. It's Earthbound. Earthbound. I
mean, Earthbound's good, but it is super slow at the beginning of it, so it's really hard to get past the beginning.
That's one of those that like suffers from like that's probably the earliest version I have of that thing where like so many people talk about this and so many dumb crappy
it shows its age, like
not necessarily like its age, but it's like dumb crappy people that like sorry, I'm not saying age is a factor in this for me personally, but I'm saying like this is the kind of thing like where so many people talk about it and so many dumb crappy people that like they don't have the rest of their lives together, so why would they be right on this? But they talk like, "Oh, you haven't played Earthbound? Well, how do you know anything at all?"
Well, see, and I'll disagree with that. Like, Earthbound is like, so Earthbound was another one of those RPGs. Like, and this is the reason why I love the Super Nintendo era. Like, if people ask me, like, what was your favorite console of all time? Super Nintendo, hands down, best era in video game history. Because I mean, you had games like Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6 that came out on it. You had Super Mario RPG. You had Chrono Trigger come out on that system. I mean, you had Earthbound. I mean, like obviously David doesn't like it, but there are some good qualities to that game because I played the crap out of that one too. And I mean, there's tons of other like Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to have owned a Super Nintendo in your life, but
you could make that argument for anything though. But I think I know what you're saying though, because it's that console that like holds a special place in your heart.
Oh, dude,
for me, it's like. For me, it's probably
like even Contra, like the Contra game that they put on there, Super Contra, Alien Wars.
For me, it was the PS1.
Still.
Like the PS1, I bought like I got my Eagle Scout and I bought the PS1 with money that I got from like everybody like, well, you got your Eagle Scout, so like you did a good job here. Here's some money. Like all that money I got, I went and bought a PS1. And this is right before they had the revision.
I would like to note this that David is talking about how he loves the PlayStation 1. And has never played Crash Bandicoot.
That's the thing is when
I'm so disappointed now.
Here's the timing of this. I bought the PS1 right before they did the console revision of like having the actual,
like having a small.
This was
like
the
PS1.
PlayStation 1, not the PS1.
Yeah,
this was before like that super small one that was all.
I actually kind of liked it because the TV that came with it too, like or you had to buy it separately, but
but it was like it looked amazing. It was like the
looked
first time
amazing
you saw
together.
It's a portable PlayStation. But
I actually had one at one point.
I bought that and I bought Final Fantasy 7 at the time. Like that was the first game I got with it. Mm-hmm. And like it was like a couple months later that like the PlayStation 2 came out.
Yeah.
And so like that was the time period. Like I didn't see the first of this generation. I didn't see like the lead up of all that stuff. Like I was just like, Well,
so yeah, you missed out. Platformer wise, you missed out on some of the best games that like Sony had in their repertoire.
but the thing about that was
PS1.
like I was buying the PlayStation 1. Like that was kind of like I said, it was the first game or first console that I paid money for. But it was like
your own hard money. Yeah, your earned money for it.
I ended up getting like, even though like other things were out, like I was going back and buying PlayStation 1 games that I was like, this looks good. People talk about this one. So like I went back and bought the Final Fantasies. And I went back, like when Final Fantasy 9 came out, I had that. Like that was the first Final Fantasy that came out when I owned that console. So like that was like, I was there for pre-order, and like the day it came out and brought that home, like that was the first one that was mine. Like this one was like, there's some sense of ownership just because you were there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
like I also went back and bought like, there was so many dumb, weird things that happened. Like, and this is kind of happens like with any, it happened with the PlayStation 2 especially, and like with the PlayStation 3 and Xbox. Like there's the AAA games you see, and then there's that like the stuff that comes out like on the backside where you're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like this is like, here's Blaster Master blasting again. Here's a 3D Blaster Master game that like has like the crappy PS1 graphics, and like it is so divorced from anything. Like the story is like really rewritten for it, but like I still love it just because it says Blaster Master on it.
The thing is that like if you go back to the original Blaster Master, it didn't have much of a story.
It does have a story. I made Emma watch the opening to Blaster Master, which is like there's a still of a boy tapping the glass jar of like a frog, and the next still is like the frog jumping out of the jar. Then the next still is the front of the house, and there's a radioactive box, and it just like, you only know it's radioactive because it says radioactive and has the nuclear symbol on it, and the frog jumping towards it. And then there's the still of the frog jumping out of that, and then like 3 frames of it like mutating and becoming a big frog, and then a still of it like with its feet sticking out of a big hole. Like, okay, it's dug a hole. And then there's the still of like the boy jumping down the hole, and the next still is like there's a tank in the hole. And then
you got to use this thing to find your frog.
He's put on this white and pink suit and like with purpose, like, and the tank is behind him. It's like, and then you hit start game, and like you're sitting behind the tank, and the music starts.
Is the story that this is a kid's like demented fever dream or something?
The story is, what the crap?
Okay,
you mean like Super Mario Brothers 2?
So there's actual story, and like this stuff was put in the American release.
No, that's Mario 3. Yeah. Mario Brothers 2 is a dream that Mario has.
Awesome.
Which is a complete cop out, by the way.
Thanks,
Miyamoto. This is all information I'll just leave for my So There I Was segment. But but
where were we?
You were talking about like
we were on Final Fantasy a while ago. Then it was Warcraft.
It was Warcraft.
Then it was Blaster Master and favorite consoles.
When we went back to Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And then we went back.
Consoles.
Yeah, you were talking about this Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
So,
PS1.
I mean, it was all originally about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
This is what Final Fantasy does to me, though. Like,
it's branching. Its story.
Final Fantasy 13 didn't do this to me at all. Like, I wanted to play it. I was excited to play it because it was another Final Fantasy game. But when I played it, like, it didn't draw me in. I didn't feel like I needed to play it.
Lightning's not your favorite character.
Lightning is not my favorite character. I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous to look at, but she's not fun. Her character archetype is the same archetype that they've used
7,000 times over.
To be honest,
it's overused.
It is overused, but she is Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell, her name is Lightning.
Yeah.
And she's Cloud. That's all she was. They just basically took Cloud and said, "Hey, let's make Cloud into a female," and that's all they did with her.
Like.
Because if you want to go back, like Chrono is kind of a Cloud, aside from
Chrono's
the one thing
he never says anything.
This is true. The one thing I will give Chrono, he's braver than Cloud.
Yeah.
Even though Cloud actually
he's a pansy.
Has a limit called braver.
That's the most ultimate vanilla character you guys can think of. Mine's Red from the original Pokemon series. Like, he to me represents the ultimate this is the silent protagonist. You can't change him. This is just him.
It's just
there's no personality at all.
He's exactly like him and Cloud are kind of like cut from the same swath, except with Pokemon Red, like, he's just a character in a hat, you know? Like, he's a dude in a hat with a jacket. Like, he doesn't look like anything special. Like, Chrono actually looks like a red-haired Goku.
Yeah.
Like, he's like
well,
a
I mean,
Goku
it's done,
recolor. Yeah, it's
like,
Akira Toriyama, and he only draws 3 characters. But
he just
they
changes
all
the
look the
hairstyle.
same. Like, there's tons of Bulmas in Chrono Trigger 2.
and, like, Megas
And 2 of them are on your team.
Megas is Vegeta. And
Yeah.
it's just like, there's all this, like... Man.
But speaking of Pokemon, that game just came out recently.
Yeah. Have you guys been playing it at all?
To be honest, it is still sealed. Like, that's the thing. Like, like Titanfall 2, I've been wanting to play.
Yes.
Pokemon Sun, I've actually been wanting to play. But I put all of those aside the moment I started playing Final Fantasy 15. Like, I don't even care that I'm not playing them. Like, I feel bad that I'm not playing them. Don't get me wrong. I want to play them, but Final Fantasy 15 has really done that for me. But
for me, like, it's my... Like, the reason I'm playing Pokemon so much right now is because of my job. Like, I can take it to work, and, like, when I have those small gaps in my work, I just pop it open, play for, like, 5 minutes.
breeding your Eevees.
And I'm not breeding any Eevees right now.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet.
It's inevitably going to happen, guys. The one thing that... So, David has an addiction problem when it comes to breeding Eevees is he has to
You can make an entire team out of Eevees. I don't know if you know this.
I mean, yeah, you actually can now. Yeah.
Like, even, like, it's been more like, you can make more of a team than you could before. Because it's like, you have almost every type represented.
Every type is represented by Eevee now.
And
at this
holy
point.
crap, that new fairy type is overpowered.
That's what I keep being told.
Oh my gosh.
But I was told that when they introduced the fairy type, like, the fairy types are just... They don't have enough that works against them.
There's nothing that works against them, and, like, nothing that works as effective as, like... So there's...
What type is it that's supposed to be effective against them? Is it steel type?
There's poison and steel.
Poison and steel.
They're, like, they're big ones, but, like, other types will have... There's more of an it's almost like the dragons in the original Pokemon, where, like, they didn't have a weakness to, like, any type except other dragons.
Yeah,
like,
well, they were technically supposed to be weak against, like, ice.
In the original Pokemon, there was no ice.
There
was Articuno, but it wasn't like she wasn't.
No, not Articuno. What was the seal? The seal. What was the seal's name?
There's Seal, and then
Seal?
there was
the
first one is named Seal.
Dugong.
Yeah, the first one is
Dugong.
named Dugong. Yeah, Dugong was the one I was looking for.
Yeah.
So Dugong learns Ice Beam,
and so does Articuno.
but Ice Beam, it was super effective against dragons.
Yeah,
like you had to go. You had to have a Dugong going into the Elite Four because of the Dragon Knight that was.
But that was still a water move, though. It wasn't an ice. Like
that's the thing is, like,
the effect of an ice
for whatever
type,
weird reason,
still...
no. The Ice Beam worked differently than normal water abilities.
He's right.
In that game.
There was no such thing as an ice type.
You had to go in there with
moves.
a Dugong. Yeah, like you had to go in there with Dugong in order to do that.
Couldn't the Lapras also do an Ice Beam?
I think you could teach Ice Beam to Lapras, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah,
it's been so long since I played like the true like Red and Blue
original ones.
Yeah, I have them installed on my 3DS, but I haven't played them.
I wasn't going back to that.
Like I mean, they're still fun to go back to every once in a while.
Yeah, just like World of Warcraft would be fun to go back to vanilla.
I mean, if you're going to say that, like, none of them are really that much fun to go back to.
That's the thing is, like...
Quality of life. There's quality of life in every game that you play.
They've been... So a lot of the changes they made in
Pikmin,
Sun and Moon, Pokemon Sun and Moon, are changes that I thought they should have put in X and Y. Okay,
so I'm sorry that I'm derailing you. I want you to talk about specifically the gyms.
Okay.
Tell me about the way the gyms work in this game.
So they don't have
this is one of the reasons why I don't want to play this game right now. Because I actually like the gym feature.
I've thought about this a lot.
I thought that it's almost a cornerstone of a Pokemon game.
Sure should be.
Okay. So what is it for you? What does a gym consist of? It's a room where you have, the first one has 2 trainers in it and a gym leader.
Yeah.
And you walk in there, and, like, that one doesn't even get a theme because it's your first gym.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's like the...
Well, I mean,
what is it like? It's usually like the rock
theme.
type.
Rock.
Like, I mean, if you go back to the original Pokemon, the first one you did was the rock one. Yeah.
But there's no theme there in the dungeon, or the gym.
Okay.
Whereas, like, you get to the later when it has the pad you walk on that can shoot you all over the place. And, like,
you mean special mechanics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
later,
I'm not even talking about that much about that, but
I don't like the
going.
special mechanics.
For me, like that was the thing. Is like the gyms ended up all becoming that. Where, like you walk into this room and there's
a puzzle.
6 to 8 trainers in here that you have to beat before you go beat the boss or the gym leader, and like you run in there 7 different times because like you fight one guy, run out, heal your guys up because they took a beating there, come back in, fight one, run out. Like
I could understand that part is monotonous and a little crappy.
But the thing about that, like that's not essentially like they constructed this gym to be done like they want you to go all the way through, and they made them more and more elaborate in some to be like you don't want to walk out because it takes so much time, so just bring your healing items in.
Yeah.
But like I'm also the guy that's going like, well, I'm not even going to spend a super potion on these guys.
Yeah.
Because that costs money. So we're just going to like just keep running out to the Pokemon Center because that costs less money. I'm not doing that anymore because I realized like, by the end of the game I've got 700 super potions.
So the whole purpose and the idea that I had behind the gym, and I mean you're probably going to be able to correct me with whatever they added to it to take to, because I mean if you take something away you got to put something there in my opinion.
Yeah.
So with the gyms I always took that as in if this is to show me where I need to be at. I need to reach this level to continue through the game. And if I can't beat this gym leader, I mean, much like it's supposed to represent in the first place, I need to go back and grind.
Think about this. What did they change in Legion as far as leveling goes? A lot. Like you can start in any zone.
Yeah, you can start in any zone. Yeah. And
like as a result, you can go anywhere you want, and anywhere is your starting zone.
Okay.
You can go from any starting zone to like any other place and like start over there, and like everything scales to you. And as a result, it's a lot more explorative than it was before.
Yeah, like you almost felt like you're exploring more than just questing.
When I would level through Pandaria, I had an exact path of quests that I could do that shot me to level 90 as fast as I possibly could. Yeah. And I'd have like one stop up where I had to hit the Burlap or the Grumble Pack because it was an enormous bag.
Yeah.
But like that was that, and like all of a sudden like I'll do different quests and like find different things on other characters I'm leveling up because it's a lot more exploratory. Like I can go different places. I'm just like, I never checked this hole the first time I was here, so I'm going to go in here this time.
So do they do the same thing in Sun and Moon?
Sun and Moon, they don't do the exact same thing, but it feels a lot more like it's, even though like every island is set up that like, okay, I'm making a path around here, it doesn't feel as linear, and it doesn't feel like, it feels like you're actually exploring and finding new things as opposed to like, well, I fight the gym leaders, all 8 of them, and then I go beat the Elite Four, and that's the game.
It's more dynamic.
Less linear. And in this case, like the first trial, there's a cave you go into, and you go in there, and like you don't fight the like they have captains. So there's you beat all the captains on the island. So there's 4 islands, and there's 4 kahunas.
Okay.
And you earn the right to fight the kahunas after you beat their captains. The first island has 1 captain. The second island I'm on has 3. And I just beat the 3rd captain.
Okay. So quick question. Do you get badges after beating them?
You don't get any badges. What you get...
I like my badges, though.
Are...
I was like going into it and looking, I was like, hey, that makes sense for that badge to be that gym leader. So, like, I don't it's just me.
It looks like a rock.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense.
Okay.
So, when I beat the first boss, or the first one was a cave that had, like, I was fighting Rattatas. But, like, there was, like, little, like, caves as, like, I'm walking through, and I could choose to, like, skip some as I'm walking around. But there's also the kind of thing, well, I guess you couldn't really skip them, but, like, there's little caves where they'll run back and forth, and you have to chase one down at the end.
Pretty sure it's Rattata.
Rattata?
Rattata.
Rattata?
Pretty sure it's not.
Rattata.
I'm pretty sure it's
Rattata. Anyway, like the idea is, like, there was a unique thing where they were rats, and so I was chasing them around. Rats. But I had to chase them down and fight them. Some would come out and attack me, but there was one that, like, was running away from me. And so you kind of had to figure out, like, how you get him. It's not hard. It's the first thing. But at the end, you go out there, and there's a pedestal that has your Z crystal on it. So in this game, you have a Z bracelet, and these.
By the way, are you gonna buy a Z bracelet?
Oh man,
I have it in my store.
Does it look like a yokai watch?
It looks like a hunk of plastic you stick on your wrist.
So yokai
and
watch.
then you put these different crystals on here, and each crystal represents like
how
one of the
dumb
Z
it was
roots
to like see somebody with like that giant Yu-Gi-Oh thing to like have cards up their arm.
My friend had.
Imagine
one of
if that
those.
was like 20% less stupid.
Like it's only because it's smaller.
Yeah.
It's just as stupid, only But it's smaller.
The thing about it is,
Pokemon, not Yu-Gi-Oh.
There's Eradicate as like the totem Pokemon in there, and like I wasn't fighting the trainer or the captain. I was fighting a Pokemon he had raised, and it was just that one Pokemon, but he could call for help. So okay. If I left him up for long enough, like he would call like another Rattata to come in there. Big smile.
Rattata.
How do you pronounce it?
Rattata.
Rattata.
Rattata. No, you gotta call it Rattata.
No.
No, it's Rattata. It's Rattata.
Yeah, it is.
It is Rattata.
You watch the Pokemon show?
Yeah. No.
This is driving me insane.
But as a joke, you call it Rattata. Because it just almost looks like it keeps going and going and going. Like, if you ever look at the name Rattata, it looks like the name just keeps going forever. So, Rattata.
I know how to read. That's all I'm saying.
You fight this Raticate in there, and like because it's a totem Pokemon, it's much larger than other Pokemon are. They're specifically trained to be like the boss of this area. So you go in there, fight him, you kill it, and well, you don't kill any Pokemon, but
sure you do.
But you beat it, and you get the Normalium Z crystal, which basically, if you give that to a normal Pokemon, it has set moves that will. Like if it knows certain moves, you have the option of hitting like. Okay, you've got.
It's like an ultimate move, right?
Yes. Yeah. So in addition to like the 4 moves that it already knows, if it knows certain moves in that category, you can hit that Z power button, and now it's got an ultimate move it can use.
Normally,
it has a whole
question.
Cinematic.
So this toy that you can get,
the dumb toy,
the Z ring that you.
So what you do is like this freaking
it syncs up to your 3DS, right?
Yeah, and it'll rumble when you do your dumb thing.
So, and it like lights up and stuff like that. Like, do you hit the button on there and it does it in the game?
I don't have one of those.
I'm just wondering if you know this by chance.
No, like I saw it and I thought like that might be cool to get Emma the game, but like she can't read yet.
Normalium sounds like a male enhancement pill.
So, before I came here...
A Z-ring?
Normalium.
Oh, Normalium?
Yeah.
Normalium.
Bring you back to your more
So there was this funny thing at the conference that I go to this year. Like, they always have like these... Like, we have these sessions that we break out into where, like, Microsoft and Sony will come out and talk to us and all that. But there's moments before the sessions start that they, like, will tell you jokes and they'll have things up on the prompter. So one of them this time was, guess if it is a Pokemon or a Korean boy band. Or a Pokemon and prescription pills. It was great. It was a lot of fun because I got all of them wrong.
Perfect.
So that's the thing is like you beat that and you get a crystal and that shows up on your save file picture. You know, like when you're saving the game, like okay, there's one crystal there.
Okay, well, but
how many crystals are there?
Like so, there's one for every type.
Like
50.
Because I've seen the crystals that you put on this plastic Z ring, the toy. Like, do the crystals all look the same? They're just different colors.
It's different color and it has the symbol inside.
Oh, so it actually has a symbol inside.
There's a symbol inside, and then
that symbol looks different on each one.
On each one, it has like the fighting type symbol.
I'm getting a tad bit happier now.
And the other thing is
because it sounds like I'm almost.
There's a little cinematic. There's a little cinematic that plays out when you do the special move. Like there's a different dance, interpretive dance to go with. It's kind of like a dumb pose you'd see in like any dumb anime, but there's different ones. That you are not off doing that.
I know. I've seen my anime, sir.
Yeah, you do your fusion hog.
So, but this changes the story of the game to where it's now you're not questing for badges.
You're questing for these stupid shards that you give to your Pokemon, like then they can do these amazing moves. So,
which
like,
I mean,
the
does
water
add
one is
a
like
bit
she does
more
this kind of like hula dance and then does this, and like, I'm doing these amazing like. Flourishes with my hands. You'll never see him, thankfully. But she'll do that, and then like it cuts to the Pokemon. Like he goes Super Saiyan, gets this like fire going around him, and like lights up yellow, and then launches into this special animation. So the best part is Megan has the fire type one.
Okay.
And like with hers,
that's the one I'm probably going to start out with.
A special like fire good choice.
Yeah.
For you, because like. For one of the fire type one's moves is fighting.
It's a monkey, right?
And so, like, even though she's using, even though it's like a fire type using the Z power, like it's kind of like one of those fire type fighting moves. So she engages this move, and like he goes up, like she does her little dance, and then the cat goes like there's a big like wrestling ring that comes down.
What?
And then like the cat gets up on like the ropes and does a pose, and it shoots over to your trainer, the trainer there, like, your character, and you go both hands up in the air, just pointing at the sky, and then like the Pokemon does its move, like body slam on like whoever's in the ring. And, like, that's the big move.
This is insane. So, like, I knew they were going to do something crazy because, so if you pre-order the game or if you get one of the early versions of this game, it comes with a code for Munchlax, which is the pre-form to Snorlax.
They added baby forms for a lot of different Pokemon years back. So there's, like, Pichu for Pikachu.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's,
well, but anyway, like, once you evolve Munchlax into Snorlax, he has a special Z move where he finally gets up. It's no joke. This is his Z move because he's always laying down or sleeping. He actually gets up and runs like a bat out of hell, like super, super fast, jumps into the air, and does like a frog splash on top of him, and a huge explosion happens.
That's like the one I have for, I just got the fire type one. And, like, it's like charging up a Kamehameha. I've got this fire lizard, and like you charge up this thing like big old fireball and then shoots it straight ahead.
So they're
you see this like it cuts to like the perspective like just behind the enemy Pokemon, and like there's this giant fireball that comes towards them, like, and you see like it does like the freaking Dragon Ball thing where like, you know, like when someone dies they like do the black lines where they got the stupid face like and then like just the black lines like they fade away. Yeah. It does that exact stupid thing, like without the stupid face. But for the Pokemon
it's like they said, how can we make our game ridiculous or just fun? You know, like no, and that's good because this Pokemon game is one of the best reviewed Pokemon games in a long time. Yeah, like X and Y were very well received,
but they still had a lot of the tropes that the series has always had.
Well, and I'll say X and Y, it was too easy as well. You get that experience share like right at the beginning of the game. Like most of your Pokemon are have out-leveled the gyms by the time you get there. So
here's the thing:
the gyms don't feel like competitive at all.
Here's the thing. You hear that? Yeah, that's the one time.
Would you say the same?
Well, I mean, you said it like 3 or 4 times, but yeah.
Anyway, so if you're using experience share, you are not getting the maximum amount of like
experience. It gets
not experience, but there's an effort value that goes into...
Is this in Pokemon Sun and Moon?
This is Pokemon everything.
Okay.
This is like from everything.
There was still enough experience you're getting in Y and X though that it still made it seem like you needed to do it.
If you're using... Like the experience share is there for easy mode if you want to play that game.
Yeah.
But if you're a halfway decent Pokemon trainer, you're not using that thing. Like you get it and immediately turn it off. Like I would use it if I wanted to train like if I got a new Pokemon that I'm trying to add to a team and he's starting at level 1 or something, or I need to get him up sufficiently high so like he can start fighting the guys in the area. I don't know why I'm saying he, because I always have female Pokemon, but...
Which is the reason for the breeding of the Eevees, by the way.
Yeah. So I got more on that later. But the idea is like you'd use that to get that Pokemon up to
the very elusive female Eevee.
Yeah. So you use that to get it up to like where it's now capable of fighting for itself, but you stop using that.
Yeah.
Because any Pokemon that is gaining the experience through that is not getting the actual effort value points when you fight something. So the idea is like if I'm fighting certain things, like I'm getting boost to like special defense or special attack or like any of the other categories you have in stat gains just by fighting certain things. And like as that Pokemon defeats that type of thing, like in addition to the natural gains it gets for just like its nature type, it also will gain those in the stat bonuses when it levels up.
Yeah.
So, in the same way that like you use if you use a rare candy, it defeats the purpose of like doing that.
Okay.
It levels up weaker because of that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
See, I was not aware of this. I didn't think it did that.
This is the whole reason for like the EV fights, like why people do the EV training, because you can specifically target like, okay, I get a nature where like this thing has super high special attack, and then if I fight these specific types of enemies and only these specific types of enemies to level it up, like it will gain this much in special attack as I level it up. So I can maximize that and target specific types. Like that's the EV side of things, effort value training.
So, okay, so there's one thing I'd like to say right now. Mm-hmm. I did not know that leveling your Pokemon was this hardcore.
That's the thing. Is like so. There's that type.
Because I know it was not this hardcore in Classic, right? Like in like Red and Blue.
No, like when they first started doing the breeding,
Gen 2.
Yeah, like when they started introducing the natures and stuff like that. That's when this stuff kind of got weird because then it was like different natures.
Yeah, they got like special
and there's actually
abilities and stuff that come out of it. Yeah.
And there's a second. I think there's nature and there's something else.
I don't think that was like Gen 3.
I think that was like Gen
Sapphire.
3.
Mm-hmm. So there's natures and there's a second thing and behaviors, I guess, is the other type that like that affects the growth of a Pokemon. Besides, like it's going to gain more special attack, but it's going to not gain very much special defense. Or like there's a whole board. Like look at this stuff. So when you're breeding,
now
Eevees,
I feel like you need the freaking strategy guide for this game, so I know exactly what I'm doing.
You can go to Bulbapedia or Cerebi.net, and it has all that stuff there, plus all the leveling guides, and like it's all fine.
Oh, okay.
Like you could buy the first. The trick is if you don't really need the Pokedex because of those websites, but the first thing like the strategy guide that actually has like the walkthrough, that stuff's useful for like not missing items and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because they like much like any RPG, there's tons of items everywhere throughout that game,
and there's all sorts of hidden stuff. And,
you need all the nuggets.
So there's like a Pokemon called Zygarde, and like you get a Zygarde cube. And as you walk around, there's just like shiny crap on the ground, and you pick it up, and it adds. Like basically, you're trying to collect this Pokemon, and you have to go collect all of its parts, and then you get it. But there's that. So, also one of the popular things in it has been a Pokemon called Salandit.
Wait, what?
Salandit.
Salandit?
Saladit. So like
Slam it?
Like salamander, but like put a D in there and then like bandit.
No, I know.
Yeah, like it's a Pokemon name, Kyle. It's not actual English.
Oh, okay.
Also, I would like to point out that like the actual like
Viagra.
It does sound like prescription pills.
Yeah.
Salandit.
So
consult your local doctor.
The thing on that particular Pokemon is a fire type, poison type lizard. It has the exact same statistics for there being males to female ratio as the Eevees.
Ooh, so it's going to be a whole new Eevee thing.
So
you have a new Pokemon. It is a
12.5% chance that you will encounter a female of that type.
So if I ever come across a female in that game...
Ready for the bomb, Kyle? You ready for the bomb?
You got a female.
Only the females evolve.
What?
The males do not evolve.
That is brilliant.
Sexist.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's the smartest thing I think Nintendo or the Pokemon company's ever done.
First one I got was a female.
So you're the happiest person on the planet?
So yeah, then I caught a second one for my sister, but it's things like, because it's a female, you can trade that for other types, because there's the Pokemon global trading system, where you can say, it's basically Pokemon Craigslist, where you say, hey, I really want female Slanted level 1, level 17, willing to trade, this thing. Like, for some reason, everybody seems to think that, like, whatever garbage Pokemon they picked up out of anywhere, like, here's a freaking Zigzagoon, it's worth the one legendary you get in the game.
Yeah, I heard people do that. Like, they will actually
Everybody
do stuff
does
like that.
They do. Well, I don't understand it.
Like, why would you give up a legendary for a Zigzagoon?
That's the thing, is like, I don't know why you would do that. I don't
understand. They look the best around your neck. They do.
The last Pokemon that I got before I came here was called Comfy, and it is a lay. It is literally a lay, a Hawaiian lay Pokemon.
And it's called Comfy?
Comfy.
I hate this game. David, would you say that this game is a night and day difference from the standard Pokemon RPG formula?
Wait. So you mean to tell me it's a comfy lay?
Comfy lay.
Ew. Did you think about that?
It's a comfy lay, huh?
Yeah, comfy lay.
Do you think they ever think about these names that they give these things?
Absolutely not.
Or do you think it's like, hey, we can throw this in there because the adults will get comfy?
Is it spelled Comfee?
Fey.
Of course. Comfey.
Comfy lay.
So,
comfy lay.
One of the things that I love about the Pokemon universe is like,
I like being comfy.
It's the whole thing plays out like a bad fan fiction where the writer was an idiot.
Yeah.
Like they tried to it's like they were there for that one day in biology class where they taught you about the the classifications of animals and plant life into kingdoms and whatnot, and families and species and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but they weren't paying that much attention. No, I'm talking like, like we're a Homo sapien, your cat is a Felinus stupidicus, and your dog is a Lupus dorcas. Like,
Felinus stupidicus.
So
and a Lupus dorcas. Lupus dorcas.
Dogus but dragius, like
Dogus but dragius.
Anyway,
sure.
like this is my reason for doing this is like this is about as much attention as like the actual Pokemon developers paid to the classification of other animals, because they also like when you go into your Pokedex, which is like this thing is classifying every Pokemon as you go out and explore the world.
So here's a quick one, and this is a little off subject, and I mean we always kind of do this, but
so Pikachu is an electric mouse Pokemon.
Yeah, see, and that's my point. Like when we were kids, we were more accepting of these names.
Yes,
like I think
Geodude,
hey, that's a cool name.
Yeah,
Pikachu.
Like, but that's the thing is like the technical names for these Pokemon, like those, like this one is like a dog type Pokemon.
Does that mean like if we were kids,
obviously dog based Pokemon?
Yeah, but if we were kids, we'd be more accepting of these names.
Yes, because you're an idiot. But like that's the thing is like as the fan fiction for Pokemon has evolved, and by fan fiction I mean actual lore fiction, it goes like, okay, this is a dog type Pokemon because like, okay, this is a pit bull and this is a poodle, but they are not both dog type Pokemon. Because they don't have that one set classification in there, because the guy who's writing the fan fiction is drastically different from day to day.
So I kind of want to jump off course here now into a new subject real fast, though. I know we didn't have much of a segue for that, but we're running out of time.
Okay. We're going to talk about Adobe Illustrator.
Yes.
What Hayden's been playing.
Get yourself a Creative Cloud. Now, if you would like to sponsor this podcast.
Hayden, what is it you've been playing lately, actually?
Need for Speed. I got it on sale for $12. I've played about 14 hours of it, so I'd say it's pretty well worth it. It's a garbage game, though.
It's a garbage game?
Yeah. If it's $12 again, buy it. But
so, like, I mean, I haven't heard a lot of good.
Yeah.
And I think it was just, like, I always thought it was more because the game, they didn't really do anything new with it. They kind of just took what they've already been doing with it and then tried to give people what they wanted with, like, the Need for Speed, Underground, and Most Wanted franchises. Mm-hmm. Is that basically, am I on course with that? Or is it like they broke everything that made those games good?
No, I wouldn't say that they broke everything that made those games good. They just, it's sort of like those, where there's still a couple cars in there, you can still customize them, but like, the car roster is very small. You have no controls as far as mechanics, like drifting, which is a huge part of this game now. Is very difficult to.
So in this game, there's like leaders of specific, like things that you do with your car, like types of things that you do with your car, and drifting is one of them.
They changed that.
It's still open world. The map actually isn't very big though. I was surprised. It's like 3 or 4 kind of locations, but none of them are very big.
So, one of the things that I loved about Underground 1 and 2 and Most Wanted, the first Most Wanted, was that, like, even though it was open worlds, like, when you went into, like, a race, it was outside of that open world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you could still race in the open world. Like, there'd be, like, little small events that would happen in the open world that you would race around in. But I liked being able to, like, for a real race, go into that separate part, like, almost like an instanced, race type feel. Mm-hmm. Do they do that with it, or is it's all open world?
It's the same street thing. So, like, you go down all these different streets and alleyways. None of them are blocked off. There's, like, another big part that bothers me, and maybe it's just because I've been spoiled by Forza, but, like, there's so much traffic and, like, cars that you hit.
Yeah.
Another big, real problem, like, probably the biggest entire problem of this game is that it's online only. And whenever I get into a game, there's a million other dork players like me that can't stay on the road, so I'm in the middle of a race, and a guy comes from the side and T-bones me.
So you can't play this game
offline now.
So
there is an option to play it alone.
Okay.
But you still can't pause it. And that's one big problem that I have for racing games, is that I like playing a racing game because it gets me out of my head.
So yeah, it's like
you should be allowed to pause it. Like, I mean, come on.
I know. Nope.
Like, pause feature's been around since I don't know.
Ever?
Yeah. Like, this needs to be a thing in a game. I will agree. Like, that feature alone missing.
Yeah.
Is
for me,
broken.
that's kind of I can understand in, like,
what are they thinking?
An online MMO or something like that, where it's persistent and there are other people there to take advantage, like, to consider.
Well, yeah.
But for a game to not have a pause feature that you're largely going to play solo, especially if you're choosing that option, like to not have stopping the game and pausing for you, like that is not considerate to the actual consumer.
Yeah, no, and exactly.
That's
plus the story in this game.
The hubris on that,
so
just
bad.
You know, and actually talking about the online thing, I want to jump to another issue that came up this week. Mario Run.
Oh,
Did you guys hear about this?
I heard it's good.
So suppose it's fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it on Jimmy Fallon. It looked fun. It requires you to be online 100% of the time in order to play that game. So why? Like, I don't understand the reason. Like, so Nintendo came with a bunch of reasons saying, well, this is the reason why it needs to be online. There's leaderboards to take in consideration, blah, 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 blah. Okay. There, you can't tell me, and you're the developer, so you tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
That if a game, let's say, that's on your phone that doesn't have service for a second, can't save your info, and then when you jump back online, put that info into said
server,
like their server, right?
I'm going to interject here. There are lots of games that actually do that.
World of Warcraft is one of them.
World of Warcraft is one of them.
It's client-side correction.
Yeah.
However, none of the studios, developers that do that are Nintendo.
I guess it's true.
Because
it does always feel like Nintendo is
always about 5 years behind the curve.
They're a little bit behind. Like,
jeez.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Generous.
Very generous.
We had issues with this. No, actually, I will say 5 years behind. We had issues with this about 5 years ago. With Square Enix, specifically. Mm-hmm. They forced you to be online to play any of their Final Fantasy games that you downloaded onto your phone or tablet. Okay? You can't always be connected online to those things. The whole point of those things is they're portable devices that you go anywhere with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So, the other thing aside of this is, like, whenever I see that, I always assume that there is something else going on that program is doing, how complex is like those old Final Fantasy games?
No, like
those old.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like Mario Run, like how complex is that?
Yeah.
Like,
this is
the thing where like
you only have to hit it once. It's basically like Flappy Bird, but with Mario.
And you still have to agree to all these stupid things. Like it's like the reality is like the modern marketplace on those phones is like everything you download is collecting information on you.
Yeah.
And it is sending it somewhere. And it wants to be online so it can collect that information and send it to somebody.
Yeah.
How your face is lighting up while you're playing Mario Run.
Like Nintendo came out and said that. Like they said that it's collecting information. We want that information for the leaderboards and blah 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 and all that stuff.
It's not just for the leaderboards. It's how
I know.
It's like when you're frustrated, it's taking pictures of your face when you're continually failing, and it's saying, "Oh look, that dude's mad. That dude obviously threw his phone at the floor." But
it's big data.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a really big part of the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just going to get bigger and more.
Yes, it's always been wrong and it always will be, but people...
That's debatable, man. Eventually, once everything's doing it's going to be a part of society.
Tom Hanks is going to give us knowledge on that. There's a new movie coming out called The Circle, I believe was what it's called. Mm-hmm. It's going to have Tom Hanks in it. It's got Emma Watson, so a good reason to watch it, because it's got Emma Watson and Tom Hanks.
Here's the thing. If you were compensated in some way for your information...
I'm going to smile every time he says it now.
Now that I pointed it out.
now that he's... Yeah.
For those of you new to the podcast, if you turn into episode 10, you can hear me say, here's the thing, about 400 times.
And each time you say it...
It's not distracting at all.
Each time you say it, I should really just go...
Well, just keep things serious.
Yeah.
But, like, during the 90s... when corporations realized that they needed to collect information for their target market, they would spend millions of dollars on surveys and customer relations and like campaigns to get this kind of information.
And they figured out they don't have to do that now, so they don't have to spend tons of money.
In the modern world, they don't have to do that. They can just sneak it in there, and because there's no laws against it, and they're actively paying to keep it that way, and it's supposedly not violating anybody's privacy, it's fine. And so they keep doing it. And, like, that's the reality of the world you live in. Like, it's just stuff is collected on you constantly, and it's used for everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be near an issue if they were actually compensating you as a person for that information, but they don't.
Yeah, no, and they're not going to.
And if you want to say compensation is like, well, you're playing this free-to-play game, that's not compensation. Yeah. Because in a lot of those games, you end up spending
Mario Run's not free to play anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's $10 if I remember right. Yeah.
And the thing
If
about
you
it is,
have
like,
an iPhone, you're going to be the first one to get it.
Yeah, I should just play it near David. Just be like, look at this awesome Mario game that I don't care much about,
slap it
but
on the
you
floor.
do. Now, hey, Mario Maker? Well, this is kind of cool,
just
too.
slap it on the floor and say something stupid like, looks like the apple never falls far from the tree.
You should really get an iPhone, though. You need a new phone.
I should really
Um,
not.
So we talked last week. We talked about the PlayStation experience, and there was a specific company that announced a game there called Capcom.
Never heard of them.
And we've actually talked about Capcom the last like 2 or 3 podcasts, and the craziness that they do and all that. So a lot of so Dead Rising 4 I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Getting really good reviews. A lot of people are talking about it. They're very happy with what they got, and we're getting early reviews of Resident Evil 7 as well. Resident Evil 7 is getting really good stuff.
Or is that Resident Evil 7 VR?
So the demo that is available on the PlayStation 4 right now can either be played in VR or it can be played. I know we don't have a lot of time here, so I know that's what you're trying to say.
I'm getting the horn ready.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like at any moment David's just going to say, so here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
And I got to be prepared.
So the
Moral of this podcast is don't have friends.
where people can make fun of you consistently and constantly. No, but the one that's on the PlayStation, you don't have to play it in VR. You can play it just like a normal game. But the early reviews we're getting is actually because the game's actually due out in a few weeks. Like, we're 2 weeks away from Christmas. Right after that, we're in January, and the game comes out in January. So people are already probably getting a hold of this, getting a chance to play it. Now, some of
those aren't people. Those are influencers, Kyle. We have hot buzzwords for them.
But a lot of people are. I mean, of course, they're not allowed to talk about the game yet, but they can still say, "Hey, we're liking what we're seeing." You know, like, and so that we're getting a lot of that.
It seems like we've especially got good news on the, like, for me, I don't follow YouTubers.
Yeah.
Influencers. I'm looking at actual, like, outlets, journalistic outlets, and everybody seems to have good things to say about the VR experience.
Yeah. Well,
however, I've never been, like, a Resident Evil fan. Like, it's always that game that's just, I played Dead Space before I played Resident Evil.
Okay.
And so after playing that, you go to Resident Evil and go like, why is it all bad all the time? Why is it just bad? Is this a bad game just all the time and not good?
So I will say that, like, if you'd played Resident Evil originally, like,
it would have been more
and this is funny
that you're
saying like you love the PlayStation 1. Resident Evil came out on the PlayStation 1, and you've never played a Resident Evil game. You make me sad.
I played Resident Evil the GameCube one.
4.
But I'm sorry.
The best console to
play. Is that the one they put on the Wii U afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I played the Wii version of that.
The Wii version of it?
The second best console to play Resident Evil on.
So,
the Wii!
That is probably, like, most people say that that's the best Resident Evil, but if you had already played Dead Space before going and playing that, there's a lot of old to Resident Evil 4 at this point. Like, controls...
Baggage is how that...
Yeah, like, controls have changed dramatically for, like, that third-person type game. Like, that's actually the funny part, is Resident Evil is actually pretty old at this point, and you can feel the age in every iteration because it's been around for so long, and things upgrade and change over time.
That's one of those things where, like, it really dates a game. Like, you can play a game like from the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's an excellent example of, like, you can play games from the NES and Super Nintendo, and, like, you'll look back at them fondly.
So,
but games that you remember...
I think the reason why that is
there's 64.
Yeah.
They date themselves just by the actual movement.
It's true, and it's because back then, like with the Super Nintendo and the NES, they're a bit more simplistic, you know, in the way they play. Whereas when you go into this 3D environment, especially back when the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64 came out, they were still trying to figure that crap out.
Yeah,
like you play Nintendo, like, you play Mario 64.
What?
You put it on.
Oh, yeah. Shoot.
You said it.
God, it's gonna be so hard.
So with Mario 64, okay, which most people, that was the first time they ever played like a true like 3D open world type game.
Those
controls
Mario
are
64
now broken.
Mario and Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I would even see Ocarina of Time has issues with. Well, I mean, going back to a Nintendo 64 controller, if you play it on the the 3DS now at this point, it's a completely different feel. You can tell they actually updated the stuff.
There's a lot that they did in that game, but you just don't realize that. I'm telling you, that mind's eye, you see everything in 4K.
Yeah.
And you go back and go oh
wow,
standard definition. That was a thing.
Horrible.
It looked atrocious.
Yeah, I think this is supposed to be a texture, but it looks like throw up. Like someone scanned throw up, put it on a wall in the game.
But to get back to Capcom, this excites me though, because this is reminding me a little bit more of the company that was kind of listening to their the people that wanted to play their games once upon a time. Back in the NES, Super, the SNES days. I feel like maybe we're getting back to that point that Capcom might start making us happy again. I mean, with Street Fighter V, they've already kind of screwed up, so maybe there's we've already screwed up, we might as well just keep this going, and with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite,
for me,
Marvel
Marvel
vs.
vs. Capcom
Infinite,
about 6 times for that company to prove to me that they're back, because they've done nothing but
Well, I mean, Dead Rising 3 was good too. Dead Rising 3 was actually a lot of fun, and the difference between the Dead Rising games, though, is it's Capcom, but it's a Western company that's developing those games.
It's like Capcom had this pit that they were digging for themselves that they thought was going to be a really good idea. Hey, this pit here,
this is the best thing
This
ever.
is the future.
Yeah.
And they've got 17 just giant drills going.
Yeah.
With 1,000 people, they're working just excavating this pit.
Grinning, thumbs up. We got this.
Capcom of the future. And then when someone realized oh, this isn't such a good idea, they went to pick up the megaphone to yell at everybody to stop, and the megaphone was out of batteries. And they couldn't find batteries for another 5 years.
I will actually agree with every single bit of that. But no, it just excites me. I'm excited to see a lot of that kind of come through the internet right now, as a lot of people are happy with Capcom. I mean, what I'm hearing makes me happy about Capcom.
And the guy
I'm just kind of hoping they go in that direction because of it.
And was hey, they should really stop there. He just when he found out that megaphone was out of batteries, he just went. He didn't tell anybody else. He was just they'll eventually get tired, and just kind of sat down with paper.
And then eventually people got tired and they left the company.
Yeah. He got real tired.
Yeah, got real tired.
A little bit sick too.
Yeah. Well, he still works for the company though.
Who?
Yoshi, guy that does Street Fighter.
Sick and tired.
Well, he got super sick. And because he was tired.
I mean, sick and tired.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, that was a joke there. But no, the Street Fighter Seth, the guy that was...
Yeah, Seth. Oh, yeah, Seth, he left the company. Yeah.
There's been a lot of key people that have left Capcom. You could say a mass exodus of talent.
Yes.
That left Capcom. And
Kenji Inafune. That guy is brilliant. Like I said, the Mega Man franchise... I mean, I say a lot of games are the reasons why I'm still playing video games today, but I love Mega Man.
I would say he's smart. I don't think he's brilliant. Because of, the way he's kind of handled concept has been... You followed the...
Well, yeah, no, I have.
The
problem is that so he was... I think he is brilliant. I really do. He's good at making video games. The problem is he's not a company man.
He's
not somebody who can run a company. He is somebody that can make video games. He tried leaving Capcom and make his own company, and he doesn't have an idea on how to run it. That's the problem. What he should have done is
7 moves ahead,
find somebody.
But he missed move 3.5.
Yeah,
which is
it
was important. It turns out.
Well, yeah. No, he should have found somebody that could help him run the company. Is what he should have done. He's hey, I'm going to be the idea guy. I'm going to be the guy that designs these video games for you guys. I want you to run the business for me. Okay, just don't get in my way. That's all I'm going to ask you. Unless I'm doing something crazy, just let me do my thing. Because I think that's what Mighty Number 9 had an issue with, is he's trying to run a company on top of developing a video game. I think the reason why Recore did well is because they had, what is their name? I just forgot their name.
Concept?
No. The guys that did Metroid Prime. Retro Games. Retro Games was the ones that helped him develop Recore. So that's why Record did better, is because he had a whole nother development studio working on that. He wasn't having to try and run both that and
Kickstarter
that.
funded.
No, it wasn't.
And I think that's important to look at, is Mighty Number 9 was a Kickstarter project from the get-go. Like, that was where he's starting. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it, okay, the guy who worked on the Mega Man stuff is now making a new Metroid game, or Mega Man game.
I mean, they're pretty much the same thing.
It's a little different.
Smaller characters.
The ice beam isn't always there.
Anime one is a girl and the other one's a boy.
Yeah. But
I don't know, the anime kind of makes me think and question that he might be a girl.
That's a great way of getting back on track here, back through these weeds. Because, okay, we gave the guy who makes the Mega Man games money to make a new game.
Yeah.
And we gave him a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
And we kept shoveling money at him. It's like, okay, we're doing this. And here's all these stretch goals. We're doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing delay. And delay.
And delay.
And
yeah.
delay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also hearing, oh, he's got another Kickstarter project going for this, and this, and this. And now they want to do a Mighty Number 9 anime. And you're like, what about the one game we've already paid you money for?
No, see, that's...
What about that?
I think that's what his problem was, is he was trying to run a company.
I don't think it's that he's trying to run a company. I think he doesn't realize that he is now, like, what it means to be entirely public-facing in this stuff, where he's now accountable to the general populace.
Yeah.
Those yearning masses.
Yeah.
And they see you, like, they gave you money for a game, and now they see you off, like, starting 17 other projects. Like, where's the first one that was supposed to be out here? Why aren't you working on that? Why is that fire that we perceive burning behind you not being addressed?
Yeah, exactly.
And meanwhile, he's off, doing whatever, and like it just appears like it's very easy to get mad at that kind of stuff. I didn't fund that. I bought that game.
Oh, I bought it too.
I think it's all right. I don't think it's great, but
it's not bad. I think some of the things that people complain about I thought was a little ridiculous. I think it's just a basic Mega Man game, and it's more of a core Mega Man game than like a great Mega Man game, an average Mega Man game, essentially. Yeah,
I would define it as like this is another Mega Man game, a completely playable, fine Mega Man game.
Yeah.
But
it's not the Mega Man characters, so things aren't standing out.
That game would have got a better review had that man not been doing the things he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Because all the fan support that he got, that initial groundswell and like the positive vibe towards that game dried up around the time of the second delay.
Well, yeah, by the time the final, but like there was
you have the third delay, and he's still out there, like, and it's, he burned all that goodwill.
Well, like, so he was already developing on Recore before Mighty Number 9 had even come out. And it's like I said, like the guy, he's not somebody who should be running a company. He's somebody who should be ideas and developing. Like he should not. He has no reason to run a company.
And the other thing about that, I think the way you could avoid this particular situation is because it's all public facing. You need to specify his role in that. Like, okay, it was to come up with these concepts. And, here's the story laid out. Here's the character designs. Here's all this stuff. And that was my role in this. And now they're implementing this into the actual, digital space that will define this game. And I'm not the guy that does that. There's these 17 other people that handle that stuff, and this is their mess to handle. Like, it's defined in these documents. I no longer have an issue, or I no longer have a part or even reason to be working along.
Well, he took like, as far as the everybody being super pissed off about that Mighty Number 9. He took all the blame for it. He took every ounce of it, which I was surprised. Like, I figured he'd just keep his mouth shut and just move along. But he actually took all of the pain that everybody's feeling. The only thing that sucks is that Recore is actually a really good game. And I think Recore suffered based on what happened with Mighty Number 9, because Mighty Number 9 was already out by the time Recore came out. But Recore had already been announced before Mighty Number 9 had already come out, and we already knew that Kenji Inafune was on board with developing that game. I mean, it's robots and platforming.
Robots.
It's like you have to have Kenji Inafune in developing a game if it has anything to do with platforming and robots. So,
Titanfall.
Yeah. Well,
not
much platforming, and that's more like a first-person
Play the
shooter.
campaign. Play the campaign.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to play the campaign.
It's really
we need to play that together. Like, that's...
Yeah. I'll definitely do that.
That's a game that's the one that I should be playing, and I just haven't been.
Overwatch,
World of Warcraft, and
Final
Pokemon.
Fantasy, and I didn't even play World of Warcraft that much lately. But thanks for joining us tonight, guys. I really appreciate you always listening to the podcast. Couple of quick notes. First and foremost, I
got this bag of Cheetos here that we haven't opened, and if you write in, it could be yours.
All they're hearing is you just crumpling the bag.
That's exactly why
it comes in very loudly.
It's proof. Actual Cheeto bag.
Couple things. I lost a little bit of geek cred last week. I called the starfish type creature in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Starro, and the creature that the Guardians of the Galaxy fight Starro. I was wrong, and I realized it after I was done with the podcast. It's Shumagorath is the thing that they fight in Guardians of the Galaxy, and that is the character that you get to play as.
It's a much
in Marvel
easier
vs.
name
Capcom
to
3.
remember.
Shumagorath.
Yeah, that sounds...
Starro is the DC version, essentially, of the exact same idea and creature. It's just this space, starfish-looking thing that they fight. But anyway...
That is just for the record, that is, the most dialed-in name you could ever come up with. Well, we need to get him this guy that came from space. Starro! Great job,
Fine.
Bruce. You're a real asset to this company.
My daddy owns it!
We got a little bit of housekeeping to talk about, though. We noticed that there's a bit of an issue with the Nerdstorm podcast name. There's a bunch of people that are kind of utilizing that Nerdstorm name. Nothing is technically trademarked, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But we're still going to use the Nerdstorm podcast as our podcast name for what we're doing right now.
We use the Nerdstorm name for the podcast section of Damaged Eclipse.
Which will end up being the company that everything is kind of branded underneath. So we just got everything finally uploaded to iTunes and Google Play for the podcast, which is super awesome. So super awesome. Not just awesome, super awesome.
Didn't we have a conversation?
We did. We've had conversation about that a while. I do it on purpose, and at this point against you, but I also... We're not going to get into it because I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah, sounds like a marriage anyway.
But because we have it on iTunes and we have it on Google Play, you can pretty much download that on any one of your podcast apps.
I use a dumb
Stitcher.
one. It was there.
Stitcher is the one that most people like to use. It is available on Stitcher. You look up Nerdstorm Podcast. It is one of the first ones that's going to pop up for you.
We worked really hard on a logo, and about half these places that you can find our podcast do not have that logo.
Actually, no. That's not true. iTunes, it first will not show up, but when you go to download the episodes, it will be there.
Once you subscribe, it appears.
For whatever reason, I'm thinking that there's probably something that iTunes has to go through to get that to actually show up.
We're working on it.
Google Play, it does show the logo right away. Stitcher, it will show the logo right away. Most podcasting apps will show the logo, but you look up Nerdstorm Podcast, or if you look up Damaged Eclipse, it will bring up the Nerdstorm Podcast for you. I use both Stitcher as far as my apps, and then I use Podkicker as well for Google, for Android phones. Yeah. If you guys could follow us like always, subscribe, that would be great. I'd really appreciate it.
RDPRE.
Anyway, everything's still kind of work in progress, but the best part about it is you can download these and listen to these on the go now. You don't have to be on YouTube to listen to them. You can actually put them on your phone and hear us in your ears at all times.
Yeah, so now it functions like a normal podcast, which is great because now I can listen to it at work again.
Yeah.
And hear myself say, "Here's the thing," 400 times.
But like always, thanks for joining us, guys. You guys have a wonderful night and
or day.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Sun or moon.
Day or night. Sun or moon. Hey, we brought it back.
Bring it back.
Trying to do full circles.
Hey, David, why don't you send us out?
It's time to record an intro.